Big news! Wayfair's President's Day clearance is on now, and you can score tons of huge deals. Like Wayfair's best deals since Black Friday. Right now through February 16th, you can score up to 70% off everything home at Wayfair. Like up to 50% off mattresses with fast and easy shipping straight to your door. Plus amazing flash deals on President's Day. Shop Wayfair's President's Day clearance now through February 16th.
Wayfair, every style, every home.
Welcome back, everybody. This is Three Geeks Interview. Today we're joined by Rebekah Kennedy. How are you?
I'm good. How are you guys doing?
We're doing great. So Jason's not here, but he always likes to start off with, what got you into acting?
Oh, yeah.
She's like, that's a tough one.
Right. It always is.
Why am I doing this? That's a good question. I started when I was 12. I wanted to act since I was 4. My mom took me to see my first children's musical when I was 4. And I don't remember the show, but I remember looking at her afterwards saying, I want to do that. And she was like, you're 4. Cool. Like, we'll see. We'll see how you feel in a few years. And, I had an older sister and we were already involved in stuff. So it was like another thing to add to the, pile. So as the years went on, I kind of would bring it up, and I lived in Texas at the time, and back then it's like, not to age myself, but there wasn't the resources there are now to kind of figure out how to do this. So my mom was just like didn't really know kind of how to go about it, and so finally when I was 12, I did not make the cheerleading squad at school, and I was like pretty devastated about that. And so my mom finally was like, all right, do you want to try acting still? And I was like, yes, I do. So she found me a local children's group that, anyone that wanted to be in the show could be in the show. You auditioned for the different roles, but it was a great way to see like, okay, do you actually want to do this? Because, there are a lot of actors or people out there that want to be actors, but they don't, like, once they do it, they're like, oh, this isn't fun. Like, this isn't me, So she's like, this is a good way to see like whether or not you want to do it. And so they had already started the show, it was a Music Man, but they were like, we'll just put her into different numbers in various places. And my mom said the first day she dropped me off, and then she came to pick me back up, and she kind of was just watching by the side. And she said when she saw my face, she was like, oh no, this is it. Like, this is it. And it was. And so I acted all through junior high, through high school. I went to school for theater, and then had every intention of moving to New York and doing that whole thing. And life kind of gave me some different curveballs, and I ended up going into film and TV instead. But I started acting then, and I haven't stopped since.
That's awesome.
Yeah,
I love so many people get hooked with theater. It's just like, it's a gateway.
Yeah, it is. I highly recommend any actor that wants to do this or has been doing this to do theater at least once in your life, because it is just such a different animal, and it has helped me so much with skills I didn't know I needed that have helped me a lot in film and TV that I'm thankful I have based on doing theater. So I highly recommend it to anybody that wants to do this.
Absolutely.
So I want to start. IMDb lists you as being known for Law and Order, Criminal Minds, Two Witches in the Veil as being your leading, like your most known. Is there something that you've done that you feel as though you wish got more credit than those? Or do you agree with that?
Oh, interesting. That's a great question. Ooh, that's a tough one. I mean, I don't know. I had a great time on Station 19. I was on that as well.
I love that.
So yeah, so probably, or did you list that? I can't remember what you listed.
No, it was Law and Order, Criminal Minds, Two Witches, and the Veil.
Yeah, so like I'd say like Station 19 was really fun. I'd say it's pretty accurate as far as like, I mean, I get a lot of recognition for SVU, obviously, because there's such a huge fan base on that. And so that one, and then like recently somebody was like, oh, that's the Two Witches chick. So like, I'll take it. I mean, that's pretty accurate, but there's definitely like, I have other projects that I feel very proud to be a part of, but as you kind of, do more things kind of more things become more, important and things kind of fall off, if that makes sense. Not in a bad way. It's just like, as you work, you're known for different things. So that's a good question though. I've never been asked that or thought about it. So
like questions that make you think.
Yeah, right.
Starting off with the tough ones, I see.
Yeah. So let's go recent work. You got to star in Crust,
Yes.
which was directed by Sean Whalen. I think that's how you pronounce his last name. We had him on recently. Great guy. How was that experience, and what was it like working for his first directed film?
It was wonderful. That was the first time I'd worked with a director that was also the actor in the scene. So I wasn't exactly sure, like going in, okay, how is this going to exactly work? But Sean and I worked for 2 months prior to filming, or 3 months actually. We worked on our scenes in an acting class and coach, so that we would feel very confident going in, especially because he was directing, and it's, it's a smaller indie project. So we didn't have the luxury of like watching the take, sitting around and watching the takes back. And we kind of just had to trust, like, does this feel good or not? So we worked really hard on that before we went in, which helped a ton. And he was fantastic. He knows exactly what he wants, but also gives plenty of room for the actor to play and to bring your own ideas. And he's very collaborative, but also specific. And so you feel like you can bring your ideas, but then you're not like flailing in the wind with them. And he's open to, anyone's ideas. I think he may have said like the funniest line in Crust, or one of the funnier lines in Crust, was our gaffer, like, not wrote, but like suggested the line. So, he's great in that way. And it was just a fun time. It was all overnights because we shot in a real laundromat. And so, we could only shoot when it was closed. So it was like, 10 p.m. to like 10 a.m. And so it felt kind of like a summer camp. Like we would just kind of, tuck away for 2 weeks and kind of emerge at the end, like what's happening, because I'm like sleeping during the day and working at night. But it was a wonderful time, and I had such a great experience. And I'm feeling very lucky and blessed to continue working with him on Swipe and in the future.
So you have played a lot of demanding roles. How do you prepare for some of those?
Yeah, that's a great
Especially
question.
the horror films.
Yeah, that's a great question. I do a lot of I do as much as I can at home prep work. I do my actor homework, the boring stuff that no one wants to hear about, but, doing my breakdown of my character and the scenes and the script, and as much as I can. And I try to, couple weeks, as much time as I have, whether it be weeks or months going in ahead of time, I try to be open to kind of the world around me and what's happening to me now, like right now, and how that could affect the character, and like, just start, dreaming about her and thinking about her. And sometimes I have, more prep, sometimes I have a day. So, I have to squeeze a lot in a very short time, but if I have time, that's always lovely. And then that way, when I get to set, I am not worried about that part of it. And I can really respond and be hopefully in the moment as much as possible in terms of like what's actually happening, and it being darker material, and kind of not having to worry about my homework, and like kind of letting that go and hoping that it comes through and it translates well. And also just kind of protecting myself in those times. Like for SVU, for instance, like I was in New York, so I shot for 2 weeks in New York, and that was the character she was neglected and abused by her parents. And so her whole, all of her siblings were. And so it was an interesting kind of thing, because I found out on a Thursday and I flew out on a Sunday. So I had very little time. So I prepped as much as I could before I left. And then when I was there, I was, alone in a hotel in New York. And I'm not a great adventure when I'm by myself. I'm not one that's going to go around the city and like do my own thing by myself. That's just not me. I did do a few things with some people I knew there, but I'm not great at like, I'll go take the subway by myself and see what happens. Like, so I'm more isolated, but it worked for the character, because then, going home after a long 12-hour day, I was like, taking a shower was a luxury for her, because that character didn't get to bathe, and having a hot meal was a luxury, because that character, only got to eat once a day, if that. And so those kind of things help kind of infuse into the character. So I try to stay open as much as I can while I'm on the set. And that kind of worked out because I was alone away from my husband. So I didn't have the home responsibilities. I could just, kind of hunker down for the 2 weeks. So that's kind of how I prep and then, hope for the best. It's tough sometimes when you're doing hard stuff and you hope and hope that your work has seeped in and that you're working with, I've been really blessed to work with some amazing scene partners that are so generous and kind, giving back to me and allowing and directors and allowing me to find things in the moment and not feel rushed or pressured when the scene is difficult, if that makes sense. I don't know if I explained it well, but
no, I think that's perfect. And It actually brings me to my next question. So I'm glad you led up to that.
Yeah.
So speaking about these deep, darker roles, obviously they push you out of your comfort zone a little bit. How do you leave behind that character when filming wraps and you've come to a close and it's come to an end? How do you separate yourself from that?
Yeah, that's a great question. So it definitely lingers for a day or two for sure. I feel it kind of, and it's funny because I don't feel like I'm consciously different, but my husband sometimes will say, like, before a shoot or while I'm shooting, he's like, yeah, you're a little different. And I was like, that's so fascinating to me. I wish I could see, like, what are you seeing? Like, I don't feel like I'm getting up to it, but apparently I am. So that's a great question. So for me, it sounds kind of silly, but I have a ritual that I do where I kind of basically metaphorically put the character into like a box, and I can put her away and I thank her for her time and for what she has taught me as a person and as an actor. And, then I'm kind of able to put her into like a drawer, so to speak. It sounds very corny, but that's kind of the way I can kind of just like feel like she's not still lingering, or I'm feeling still like the residuals of whatever she's felt or going through, because it'll usually be very different from my own life, thankfully. So that has helped immensely in not feeling like they're hanging on, if that makes sense.
I love that. I think that's beautiful. Like, just kind of thank you, put it to rest, and be able to kind of move on. Yeah,
and then move on to the next. It's hard sometimes. It's hard because especially when you love a character so much, and even if you've only spent a few weeks with the person, the character, it's like, no, I'm not ready. Sometimes I don't feel ready to like let her go. So that also is a good way of kind of closing the door, closing the chapter on it.
I love that.
Speaking of ones you don't want to let go of, is there a role that you would love to revisit, kind of like where you are now and knowing what you know, or how perceived by people, that you'd like to kind of go back to and give more life to again?
I mean, I couldn't because she's dead, but it's hard when she's not alive. But I loved my character on SVU. Like she's so different. I mean, she's nothing like me, and I've experienced nothing that she has experienced. Or for whatever reason, I really connected to her immediately, and I just found her so fascinating, and the way they wrote her and the life that they gave her. And I feel like that's not always seen in victims and survivors and how they're portrayed. So I would, if I will never get the chance because like I said, she's gone. But if I ever had a chance of something like that, she'd be definitely someone that I would love to come back to, because I feel like she made a big impact in just her, one episode, but people the character itself made waves, so to speak.
What kind of draws you to a script? Because you take on a lot of these very deep and dark characters sometimes. So what kind of draws you to that?
I think because my normal life is pretty normal, I'd say, thankfully. I'd hate to say boring because that's not accurate, but like it's nothing compared to that. And so I find it really fascinating and fun to go into something that is so outside of myself and the world that I am in, and like what that would be like, because it's a safe place that I can go to, and I know that I am safe, and like what we're doing is safe, and then I can come out of it at the end of the day. And also there's something about playing roles that people can relate to that is really special to me. And I feel like a very big honor to like be able to, especially I've done 2 characters now that were loosely based on real people, real situations, and they were, awful. And to be able to give a voice to that is, I think, really important. And for people to be able to see on screen somewhat of their experience. After I did Criminal Minds and after I did SVU, I've had many messages of people that could relate in some way to the characters and the situations that were going on, and messages of hope and the fact that they reached out meant so much. And like, also, it's a little bit of a wait because I know going in, okay, there's people out there, even if I'm doing a horror film, it's like, and there's the dark circumstances, there's somebody out there that knows this, right? And so there's that I love giving a voice to. And I feel like if one person watching is like, that's me, that's my life, like, and they feel something about it, then I'm proud of that, if that makes sense. So I'd say that kind of draws me to darker stuff and just so different from my everyday life. And I like to explore what those characters are like and going through, and giving a voice to people that don't have one is really interesting to me.
Is there a different role or drama that you'd love to try that isn't this, but maybe opposite, or just something completely different in general?
You mean like role or type of movie?
Yeah,
or
either.
I don't really have like a specific role, or like, oh, I want to do this or that. I don't know, when I'm looking for, I mean, obviously I audition still. So it's like,
right.
Sometimes you're going to get what you are going to do what you book. But if I'm actively seeking things that are being offered, I'm really just looking for characters that continue to challenge me as an actor and as a person, and make me think differently about things, especially if I have know nothing about that world or about that kind of person or what they're going through. I'm constantly looking for that and unique voices and something that is like maybe weird or quirky. Or I had a friend one time tell me, she's like, oh, I love hearing about what you audition for because the characters are always like crazy. And I very much love that. And I hope to continue doing those kind of projects where people, if I'm so lucky for people to be like, oh, she's in it, like it's going to be interesting if that, so I don't have like a specific, if I can just continue to do stuff like that, that would be great.
Something that's still challenging and a different perspective.
Yeah, for sure.
Love that.
Done an amazing job in a lot of these roles. Is there anything that sticks out the most that happened like behind the scenes that you just laugh back at the most?
Ooh, that's a great question. Thank you, first off. That's very kind. So I'd say one thing that was pretty funny, on SVU, we filmed on a real train, like a real working train. And so there's a scene where, for anyone that listening that doesn't know it, there's a scene where I have escaped and I run and I'm going to get on a subway train, and it's, above ground, and go wherever it takes me. And I've never been on a train before, and I don't know how it works. So my character is supposed to run up and like wait. And then the train comes, the doors open, I get on, and I'm thinking like, oh, it'll be like a train they've rented or something. And they're like, no, this is a real train that's going to stop, that has like real commuters on it. And you're going to get on and you're going to wait 5 seconds and then you're going to get off. But there's going to be someone on the train in production in case you get the doors closed and you get stuck, on it, like onto the next stop. And I was like, okay. And
that's not stressful at all.
Right. If we don't get this one, this take, we have to wait 30 minutes for the next train. And I was like, oh my God, what is that? Okay, like no pressure at all. So I'm like, cool. Like, all right. And so I'm thinking like to myself, like, and we rehearse it in the terms of like, I run up and I'm on the platform and they know where I'm going to be, but we can't rehearse getting on the train or anything like that. And so they're like, okay, it's coming. So we're get ready. We're going to roll and we're going to go. And they call action. And I run up the stairs and I'm like waiting for the train to come. And I'm thinking the doors are going to stop in front of me. But the way the train landed, the doors were here and here. And I was like, which door am I supposed to get in? You actually see looking back from door to door. decision. And that is absolutely Rebekah going, oh no, they didn't say which door to get into. I'm just going to have to pick one. So I ran into one and I was like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 and ran off. But that's absolutely me trying to figure out. But it worked great because it looks like the character doesn't know what's happening or what to do or how this works. And so that was I'd say pretty funny.
I love that. Do you have any like things that surprise you, like when people recognize you and they like say a line or a role or something that you've done that kind of just takes you by surprise?
Yeah. I mean, I don't get recognized too often, but I mean, there's occasions. Thankfully, I would hope I look better in real life than I do in a lot of these parts. So that helps. But I was actually in Canada. I went with a friend. She had a film at TIFF, and I was waiting for her to do an interview, and I was just standing there, and a girl came up to me, and she's like, "I'm so sorry to bother you." And I was like, "What's up?" And she's like, "Were you an SVU?" And I was like, "I was." And she was like, "Oh, you were great, whatever, great." And I was like, "Oh," so it was very cool to like be in another country and have somebody recognize you. So that was probably the most taken off guard, because I was especially there because we were like watching Anna Kendrick do her interview. I was like the least important person in the room at that time. So that was a cool moment.
Yeah, that's cool. We won't take up too much more of your time.
Fine, yeah.
Where can everybody find you on social media?
So I'm on Instagram at Becca, BEKAHK. I'm also on X, and then on Facebook, Rebekah Kennedy as well. And I'm on TikTok, Rebekah L. Kennedy, though I don't post as much as I should, but I'm trying to get better, so we'll see.
Sounds great. Well, Rebekah, thank you so much for being on with us. We greatly appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me. You ladies are amazing, and I really appreciate it.
Thank you. All right, guys, don't forget to like, follow, subscribe, and check out Crust with Rebekah Kennedy.